What's up, everybody? How you doing, you Vox and Hops heads? Here we are, episode number 26, with Keith Wampler from the Convalescence. I am coming at you live from the United States. I'm out on the road with my band Cryptopsy. I'm on tour with Aborted, Cryptopsy, Hideous Divinity, and Benighted. It's the hell over North America, the ultimate in blast beat parties. It's been sick. It's been fun. Tour continues tonight in Fresno, California at Strummers. So if you don't have your tickets, get your tickets, because a lot of these shows have been selling out. We've been having a great fucking time. It's always fucking fun to play in the USA. Fans are intense. I'm getting a lot of amazing support. Beer-wise, I've put out this contest, this participation connection, if you want, where you contact the band and you book your spot and you get to bring out some delicious local craft beers, and I will be reviewing them and tasting them with some of my guests on the podcast. I've been having some crazy, crazy nights. In particular, Denver was overwhelming in the support that I received in this connection contest participation beer in exchange for a ticket to the show. On Denver alone, I got over 40 delicious craft beers. I got to do some shout-outs right now for a bunch of people that have brought out some beers, so here we go. So huge thank you to Hiran, the guitarist of Battlecross. He came out, he brought us a bunch of delicious beers from the Detroit area. Huge shout out to Keith Wampler, my guest on the podcast today, came out and brought us also a bunch of great craft beers from Toledo, so thank you to you too. In Chicago, as I said, we were overwhelmed with the amount of great beers that we received, so a huge shout out to Mike from Broken Hope, who we also conducted an interview that night, which will be coming out in the next few weeks. We got Jordan Lannert. Jordan Lannert, I got to tell you, my beer of the week was a beer that you brought. It was absolutely delicious. It was Dimorphic from Speciation Artisan Ales. And it's the Dimorphic. It is a fodder-aged Solera sour ale with sweet, dark, red, and gold cherries. And this beer was absolutely delicious. I just can't get over how good it was. I'd love to find it again. So thank you, Jordan. Delicious beer. Excellent fruity notes. Just the right amount of sour. The nice little aged fodder part of it. Really super complex, super delicious, and I'm dying to get my hands on another bottle of that. Also, in Chicago, a huge shout-out to Michael Wagner, who brought us a bunch of delicious IPAs, hazy IPAs. We were really spoiled that night. My favorite what he brought me was the Megabyte, which was a Citra and Amarillo hopped double IPA. It was absolutely amazing, so thank you, Michael Wagner. Huge shout-out to the boys in Kansas City, Dallas, who owns the Riot Room. He always blesses us, always grants us access to all of his amazing beers, and he loves sharing beers, so a huge shout-out to Dallas. And finally, a huge shout-out to, in Denver, I got hooked up with amazing, amazing True Brewery beers from Alex Ward's. Huge shout-out to you, and a big shout-out to Chris Ball, who brought us a whole slew of amazing local Denver beers. I'm loving this idea. I'm loving getting access to all these beers that I wouldn't normally know where to find. And it's people keep hitting my taste, my palate, the beers that I appreciate right on mark. So I'm really, really stoked and appreciative of all of this. So cheers and thank you all. Today on the podcast, as I mentioned, Keith Wampler from the Convalescence. Check it all out. Here it is, Vox and Hops, episode number 26.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
And what's up, everybody? Today I'm with Keith Wampler, the vocalist, the booking agent, the very, very busy dude from the Convalescence. I met you in 2015. We were touring together on, I can't remember, Back to the Worms.
Back to the U.S.
Back
tour.
to the U.S. tour.
Yeah.
It was Cryptopsy.
Disgorge, Arima, and Surreption.
Surreption, that's what I was thinking, yeah.
Surreption's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it sucks, the whole thing about them not being able to come to the States.
I didn't know that. I know
Yeah,
they've been to the States since then.
They have a bunch of visa issues going on. One of their members.
Oh.
Yeah. Shout out to Michael. You'll get through this, and we shall hang
Right.
on American soil.
Or fuck it, we'll come over there and tour with you.
Yes, absolutely. So we are at the Grid, which is my guitarist from Cryptopsy's studio. You are here because you just finished recording your new album.
Yep.
Let's talk about that a little bit. What made you come here? How did that come to terms?
Well, we've wanted to work with Chris for a while. Pretty much since that tour we did with you guys. Just hearing all the stuff that comes out of here, Beneath the Massacre, The Agonist, like all that kind of stuff is just fucking killer always. And a lot of the bands we listen to record here. And he's been asking us, we've been sending our stuff up there for like, hey, can you mix and master this for us and stuff? And it's always sounded great. But until last year, we weren't allowed in Canada because of criminal charges and whatever, because apparently you can't be a metal band without some criminals. So we got all that straightened out and everything. And we've done like 4 Canada tours now in the last 2 years and actually do better up here than we do in the States most of the time.
Really?
It was kind of surprising. We even had played out in Grand Prairie, Alberta, and a dude walked 3 hours to come see us.
He walked 3 hours.
And it was cold as fuck. And
it's
I was
Canada metal lovers.
I couldn't believe it. He's like, I just walked 3 hours to be here. I've been wanting to see you guys for 3 years. And I'm like, I feel really bad. Maybe we should have picked him up or something.
Maybe we should have played a little longer.
Yeah.
2 more songs.
Here's your 8 songs for 3 years of waiting.
2 more songs for that guy. How was the recording process?
This is the smoothest we ever recorded. It's the first time we've ever done live drums. The first time we recorded in another country. First time ever doing any guest vocal stuff. All went really smooth. We finished 5 days early than scheduled. So can't complain. Doing 10 songs in basically 10 days.
Yeah, and you had told me before we started the interview that you tracked your vocals in 2 days.
Yeah, 10 songs in 2 days.
Which is very, very impressive.
Feeling a little rough last night. Whole body kind of hurt from just recording vocals like that. But totally worth it. I'm happy with the finished product.
It's like a whole physical thing though, screaming.
Yeah.
I put it akin to drumming almost.
Yeah.
The way that we
Yeah, if you look at the members of a band that sweat the most on stage, it's probably the vocalist and the drummer.
Mm-hmm.
The guitar player is always the ones complaining though.
Guitarists are special breeds.
Yeah.
They're we need them, so we
right.
gotta put up with them.
It was a long day of tracking. I sat in a chair.
My back hurts.
Right.
Yeah. You guys did a 5-show run up here in Canada leading up to the studio. How was that? Was it the first time you've ever toured Canada in the winter?
In the winter, yeah. I mean, we were here in the spring and it was still cold, but it was bearable cold. It just snowed so much while we were up here, and it was the most snow I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I'm just from the other side of the lake, but it was snow taller than me, and it's what the fuck is happening? So that, and then just the cold temperatures, really. A few nights we slept in the bus, and not, as soon as you turn the bus off, it's cold, it's outside. So we up in Sudbury, Ontario.
Oh yeah.
And it got super cold. I think it was -17.
It's always cold in Sudbury somehow.
Yeah, it's just fucked. But I actually grabbed my sleeping bag, and it was so cold it hurt my hand. To touch it, it hurt, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And our drummer Charles has a memory foam pillow, and it was frozen. When he laid on it, it was crackling. So all of our stage blood froze.
Oh, that, yeah, because you travel with it.
Yeah, so that froze. Any drinks that are in the bus would freeze immediately.
Wow.
We were sitting there, and you shake a water bottle, and it'll turn to ice.
Wow.
It was just real cold.
Was this something that you anticipated, or
to an extent? We have a couple members from Texas that were kind of what is this? But the rest of us are from Ohio and Michigan, so it's kind of the same as touring at home. Mm-hmm. But it just, some of the days were way colder than I really anticipated.
Because for me, when I'm organizing a tour, I'm thinking about organizing a tour. Touring Canada in the winter is never something in my mind.
We always try to record in the winter because the prime touring time is spring, summer, fall. So we always try to record in the winter, and we wanted to do a couple warm-up shows, mainly for my voice.
Mm-hmm. We spoke about that before, too.
Yeah, just coming off a tour and, going right into the studio and recording. You're warmed up. You're feeling it. You got, your full breaths and everything. Whereas, if you're sitting at home for a while... I don't know about you. I have trouble getting back into.
I forget how to stream.
Yeah, same.
I have two screams. I have. We can talk about it there. That I just did a guest vocal for the new Convalescence.
Right.
And I have that scream, and that scream I can pull out just about any time. That's okay, that scream. But my standard Matt scream,
right,
I forget how to do it. And it takes me a good 20 minutes before I fall back into what needs to happen. But when I'm on tour, it happens immediately. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can just bust it out and you're like, good.
Yeah.
Good. Because you're always warmed up at that point because you've been screaming your head off every day. But sitting at home, I don't just, well, I do sometimes, but I don't normally just walk around my house and scream at stuff. But
I tend to not. Yeah. Maybe in the shower a little bit.
I do, like, randomly, but
it'll be more of like a fry if I do it on my own.
Yeah.
Like a little fake scream, which is something I don't do. Yeah. Well, let's talk about beer. Vox and Hops is all about beer. Are you a craft beer enthusiast?
Not really. I just drink whatever beer's handed to me normally, or PBR.
Okay.
Usually sit around, watch football or something, and drink like 30 beers. So
this is a different style of beer than a PBR. This is the Sirkawa. It is a coffee stout. It's a Russian Imperial Stout, which has been brewed with Guatemalan La Bolsa coffee from Detour. So it's from Brasserie Dunham, which is one of my favorite breweries up here in Montreal, from Quebec. They're not from Montreal, but from Quebec. And this is a special one. They do it, a series of it with different coffees. It rings in at 9.5%. Extra strong beer. Let's see what the sucker's got. Cheers, Keith.
Yeah, cheers.
It smells nice and
definitely interesting,
like chocolatey.
Yeah, a little bit like a dessert beer.
Yeah, it's not overly boozy because the coffee's so strong. It's very bitter. It's very dark. It's a ominous black, beautiful beer. Perfect for winter.
I have to say, since we've been in Quebec, I don't know if it's just from hanging out with Chris or what, but I've tried so many different beers in the last 2 weeks, and I have no idea what any of them are.
It's insane right now up here. I was reading an article that a person who owns a craft beer shop gets 40 new releases every week.
Like totally new beers?
Yes.
That's insane.
It's absolutely insane. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I like variety, and I don't want to... I was saying it on the previous podcast that I just did, that I don't want to stifle the artistic side of them making beer, but I don't know if it's actually good for the whole market of the beer just have so many of them, and then there's kids that just want that new beer.
Right.
So I don't know if we're
forgetting. Nobody's getting resale. I
don't know. Are we forgetting that beer was actually good?
Right.
Because you're trying the new thing. Do you remember your first experience with beer?
Actually, yeah. Yeah, I was still a teenager, and we were having a bonfire at our house, and my dad's like, "You want to try a beer?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I think I drank 3 Coors Lights and was trashed, which is kind of funny now, but I was probably 15.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Fucking wasted 3 beers. I think I threw up. It's super lightweight.
You're from Detroit?
Toledo.
Toledo.
Yeah.
Where's Toledo located?
Ohio.
Ohio, okay.
It's almost to Michigan. If you're going down I-75, the first city when you hit Ohio is going to be Toledo.
Okay. Do you know if there's a craft beer scene there?
There's a few breweries. I know there's Great Lakes Brewery in Michigan that a lot of people drink. As far as in Toledo, I can't really think of any. I don't really get out much while I'm home. I'm usually sitting around working, and maybe I'll go to a show or something. But as far as Toledo breweries, I don't really know. Most of them are in Michigan. I think there's a place called Motor City Brewing Company that's pretty good. They got some good beer there, and Great Lakes, and that's all I can really think of, honestly.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, when did you start screaming? When did you discover that you had this talent for it?
Actually, in my band in high school, it was 2007, I want to say. We had 3 guitar players and could not find a vocalist that fit. And I started doing vocals probably the completely wrong way by just cuffing the mic completely and just basically just throwing up into it pretty much. And listening to like the stuff from back then, it just sounded like a panther or something. Like it was awful. It was super terrible. But I mean, everybody's got to start somewhere, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just did it because I was sick of looking for a singer. I was like,
because you were playing guitar.
Yeah, I was playing guitar.
Okay.
And I was just like, you know what? I'm not very good at guitar. I have some ideas here and there. Like, I usually contribute one song per album.
Oh, yeah?
Musically.
That's awesome.
And then other than that, just scream. But once I started doing vocals, I found that I liked that a lot better. Like playing live, doing vocals, than having to worry about, oh, is my amp going to fuck up? Is this whatever? Just go up there and grab a mic and
there's
scream.
Less gear to carry into.
There's no gear to carry, really. I got my wireless mic, and that's it.
That's not true. We're both singers that load in.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I absolutely do, too.
I do. Sometimes I don't load out, but that's usually because I'm trying to get us paid.
Or you're at the merch. Or
yeah, we're at merch.
Who were some of your early influences when you started screaming?
Probably, as weird as it is, like Mushroom Head was the first band that I really got into that was like screaming at all. But once I got into that, there was, Lamb of God and then Slipknot, and it just progressed to heavier and heavier from there. And now I'm at this point where every time I hear a vocalist make just some crazy sound, I'm like, oh, fuck, I need to learn how to do that.
How do you go about discovering your voice further?
It's just one of those things like you hear it enough times and just kind of just try to mimic it to a certain extent. And then once you get it down, kind of make it your own from there, and just build off of it, I guess. Because I know like my vocals now sound nothing like they did even a couple years ago, but it's just because I've changed what I've been listening to, and from touring with so many great vocalists and playing shows with so many great vocalists, I've been like, oh, I see how he's doing that. All right, well, maybe I'll try that with my scream and that technique or whatever, and see what it sounds like or whatever. And been fortunate enough to tour with like Travis Ryan and stuff like that, and play with Whitechapel a few times, and play with Carnifex a few times and stuff like that. And one dude I can't understand is Adam from Oceano. His lows are just otherworldly. I just can't even do it. Or
it's like going to school when you're on tour.
Yeah, you're just watching everybody
there
like, damn, that sounds crazy. Like, I need to do that.
How would you describe your technique when you approach screaming now?
I don't know. Just, I guess, more aggressive enunciation. Before it was just kind of like a flat, like, I'm just trying to make this tone and get through this, and now it's more, I guess, more developed.
But if you had to like describe it to someone learning how to scream, how would you describe your technique and how you approach screaming?
I honestly have no idea. Like, I feel like I'd be a really terrible vocal teacher of any kind. People have asked me before, like, how do you scream? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just gross.
I just scream.
Yeah, you just fucking make noises. So, I don't know. I always just tell people, like, pick like 10 vocalists that you really enjoy and make a playlist of like your 10 favorite songs, one from each of these bands, and just sing along with it until something is comfortable, and then build off that. Because that's
really good advice. That
how to build a range and stuff like that. And if you're just like, I remember probably around like 2010, 2011, I knew like 20 vocalists that sounded just like Randy Blythe, like in the local scene. It's like, dude, listen to something else, please.
Hey, Randy's
amazing.
Yeah.
But Randy's amazing.
Yeah.
So like,
shout out to Randy.
Yeah, for sure.
Love seeing you. Who do you think is the best metal vocalist?
Best metal vocalist. We talking like singing too, or are we talking about screaming?
No, let's keep the screaming for now.
Screaming, I gotta go with Travis Ryan.
Yeah, he's high up there on my list
from
as well.
Cattle, dude. That like it's not singing, but it's not screaming either. Like
his old lady witch voice there.
Is that what it is?
I'm sorry.
It's
sorry,
fucking.
Travis.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I love it. And just some of the patterns, and like he's like rolling his R's, doing high vocals, and it's just like, dude, what the fuck? It's just amazing. That's probably tops.
He's really, really fucking talented, and he's super, super humble and hard on himself.
Yeah. Yeah, but
having had toured with him there,
really good.
Yeah. Who is the best up and coming vocalist that you've heard?
The best up and coming vocalist
from like a smaller band, let's say.
That's a tough one. I'm gonna have to go. It's a tie for me, actually. I'm gonna give it to Cody from The Breathing Process. We just toured with those dudes up in Canada, and that dude is super talented. He's also in I Killed Everyone.
That's an awesome band name.
Yeah. So hearing him live was really, really good. And Colton Head from Forces.
Okay, so I don't know that neither.
He's just got this like high scream, this like pterodactyl scream. Everybody calls it. It's ridiculous. We've had the pleasure of touring with them quite a few times. They're from Detroit, so we play with those guys all the time. But yeah, Colton's crazy good.
Speaking about playing with people, you're always on the road.
Yeah,
I
pretty much.
I keep seeing the Convalescence on all these tours. How does that affect you? You know, you're like road dogs.
Yeah,
you were mentioning that you do like 200 dates a year.
Yeah, close to it.
How do you mentally handle that?
I think we're all just kind of used to it. Like a lot of us feel like more comfortable on the road than actually even being home. When I'm home, I don't know what to do with myself. Like I'm home for like a few days, a week or so, you know, and it's like, cool. I got to shower every day and got some sleep. And I ate some food and didn't have to scream. Mm-hmm. And now where am I supposed to go now?
It is a very like ritualistic life when we're on tour. We know exactly what we have to do when we have to do it. So
when I get home, I'm always like weird for a few days, like trying to adjust to being a normal person.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody's looking at you like, what the fuck are you doing? And it's just road stuff.
I'm just headbanging. Yeah. What are some of the sacrifices that you've made to be able to tour so much?
Oh, I mean, like back home, I don't have a car. I don't have my own place.
So when you're off tour, where do you stay?
Well, for a while I was staying at my mom's, but I've been staying with my girlfriend a lot over the past little while. So
does that make it harder? She must understand that you're a tour dog, a road dog.
Yeah, I've known her for a really long time. I think 11 years now or something.
Oh,
like
cool,
that.
awesome.
But just recently started trying to make things work again, whatever. But you know, she understands. She supports it. She comes out to a bunch of shows when we're around the area too. So it's cool. Has no interest in ever being on the road with us though.
my wife, same thing. Yeah. She'll come up to a show, but that's about it.
Yeah, she'll cruise out for a show, maybe a weekend. She'll like follow us show to show, and then after that, it's like I'm going home.
Let's talk about the bus that's parked outside. When we did the 2015 tour, you guys pulled up in this school bus, which you've converted into a tour bus.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned that this is not that same school bus.
No, we actually traded that bus for this bus.
Okay, so how did you guys go about turning a school bus into a tour bus?
Rip all the seats out, and basically the first step was to find a loophole to where we didn't need somebody with a CDL to drive it.
Okay, a CDL is a special license that you need to drive school buses.
To drive just giant vehicles, like a commercial driver's license, basically. Okay. And to do that, we had to get this registered as an RV.
Really?
Yeah. So we found some like loopholes, such as like, you know, it has to have a bathroom. So when we got it inspected, we bolted a toilet to the floor.
But it doesn't work.
No, it didn't go anywhere. You know, like stuff like that.
That's awesome.
It's got to have tables fixed to the floor. So we'd like bungee cord that shit down, and like it just, you know, and it technically isn't supposed to safely seat over 16 people, or you need like a chauffeur's license or whatever. So we read all the loopholes basically to make an RV, and at least makeshifted them for the inspection and got it registered as an RV. And then took that shit out and transformed it into a tour bus, basically.
Oh, okay.
So
coming into Canada, you had no issues?
No. Actually, when we pulled up this last time, we pulled up and he's like, pull over here, you know, instead of just letting us go through. And we opened the door and he's like, this is a pretty cool bus.
That's cool. I want a tour after.
Yeah.
I definitely want a tour. I want to see what you guys are traveling in.
I mean, they got up there and they looked around. They didn't even go through anything. And you know, we've had troubles before. We got denied to Canada once, actually, in the old bus, and they ripped all of our beds out of there and gear and everything. We're throwing it in the snow and like,
you just caught someone on a bad day.
Yeah, being dicks to us. And
absolutely.
Then they wouldn't let us in after the background checks, and then they told us like, you have 15 minutes to get everything picked up and head back to the U.S. or we're writing you like a ticket for obstructing a border.
Gee.
And it's like you tore apart a whole bus and threw it outside. Like,
wow.
You know, so we had to just throw everything back in and then drive to the States and then pull over in Detroit and reorganize the whole bus. And it was like the week our CD came out. So we missed like 4 shows the week our CD came out and just kind of screwed us on charting or anything like that. So
up in Canada.
Yeah.
You guys had like catch up the next.
Yeah, we had to wait like 4 days and then drive around the lakes and back up with our own tour in New York. So
that sounds like that's one tour horror story.
Yeah, that was.
But what is the
tour horror story? I have actually 2 for you. One was in the States. We went out to. We were on tour for 115 days straight.
Yes,
like no breaks.
That was 2015. No,
yeah,
that was 2015. Our tour was a part of that, I think.
Yeah, that was like towards the beginning of it. Was we were on tour for I think 2 weeks before we met up with you guys,
Insane.
or maybe 3 weeks before we met up with you guys. Our tour with you was 3 weeks. Then we went out with Il Nino and Straight Line Stitch and Moto Grader right after that. I think we had to drive from Ohio straight to Colorado. And then we cut back across, headlined dates down to Florida and back up to the Midwest, played Mayhem Fest in Pennsylvania, and then the next show was at the Whiskey in Hollywood. So we drove 58 hours straight.
Unbelievable.
To get out there. And it was like over 100 degrees. We had no AC or anything, so we're just dying all the way out there. Play the Whiskey, play another festival the next day, and then we got our oil changed before we headed up to like Northern California. Well, the place that changed our oil didn't put the oil plug back in all the way. So as we're driving, we get up into the middle of nowhere in the desert in California. It's like 110 or whatever outside. The oil plug falls out and dumps all of our oil out of the bus on the side of the road. So it overheated immediately and like all the lights were on and everything. And we pull over on the side of the road, and I think we had to wait 4.5 hours for somebody to get out to where we were to put in a new oil pan plug, and we had to pay him like $200 or $250 or something to do that and bring us oil and stuff. Well, he didn't prime the turbo on the bus. So he's like, oh yeah, you're good. And we took back off. Well, about an hour down the road, we hear this sound, and it was like the weirdest sound ever. It's just like zzz, like that. And we're like, what the fuck was that? And then the whole bus was filling with smoke.
No way.
And it was
inside the bus, yeah.
Inside the bus, like up through the wheel wells.
Unbelievable.
Like, we were leaving a trail. It looked like something exploded. And we're like, oh shit, are we on fire? Yeah. Like we thought the bus was like on fire.
Absolutely,
so we pull over and everybody's jumping off the bus and everything. And there's just, you can't even see the road. Cars are driving through the smoke with their hazards on and stuff. And like,
that's scary.
It was so much smoke. Someone called the fire department. So the fire department shows up at our bus on the side of the road. And it wasn't on fire, but what had happened was when the turbo blew from not being primed, it was just shooting like raw oil and burning it up inside the bus. Yeah. There's just oil smoke everywhere.
Jesus.
So we had to get a police and fire escort because we were putting out so much smoke. It was a hazard to the road. So they were like driving behind us with their lights on. And we all were sitting in the bus still with like bandanas tied around our faces and stuff because of all the smoke. And we got it pulled over to a place, and we were stranded in this like parking lot in the desert for like 3 days. We had to do like a GoFundMe to like,
oh yes,
whatever. And
I remember when this happened.
There was a bunch of bands like Hansel and Gretel and shit, like, you know, donating money and like helping us out and stuff. And the repair ended up being $3,300. And it was day 101 of the tour.
Whoa.
And we pulled it together and got just enough to get up to Spokane. And it was like play a show to make enough money to get to the next show, to get to the next show. And we were living off of like, we were stealing like lunch meat from Walmart and shit. Like that's how we were eating. And got all the way back around and finished the tour off. And then we're back on the road a month later again. So it was like ridiculous a little bit. And the other one was the one and only time we've been to Europe so far. We went over there with Suffocation, Cattle Decapitation. And we get there and we're on the way to the first show. and we're driving down the Autobahn in Germany, and all the power in the van goes out. The lights go out.
Oh, because you weren't in the bus with them. You guys had a van.
We had a van that our agent over there owned for his band.
Okay.
And he's driving, and he's French, so he like speaks French and like French English kind of. Mm-hmm. And we're in Germany, and none of us speak any foreign languages except Katie speaks Spanish, you know. But we so all the power goes out in the van. He pulls over and tries to restart the van, and nothing. And we're on the side of the Autobahn, like in a construction area. Yeah, and just cars flying by. The cops show up. The German cops show up, start banging on the window with like the nightstick thing. And he rolls down the window, and they're like, and they yelled at us in German. We're like, dude, we don't know what you're saying. And they yelled at us in English, what fucking drugs are you on? And we're like, none, dude. We just can't go anywhere. Like, you've never had a car break down out here before? Like,
we have better fixed precision.
Yeah, they were pissed, and it didn't help that the back of the van said "Dear Bitch," like huge.
That won't help. That won't help. No,
and it was like big neon green letters on a white van.
That's funny.
So, they're trying to speak like German English to our agent, who only speaks French English, and it was just a mess. So then they called a tow truck, and this tow company was like, all right, well, we're going to tow you into Cologne. And his insurance company like paid for a hotel for us for the night and everything, and they're like, we'll have it fixed by morning. And we're like, cool, because our show in Poland is tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And first date of the first time we're ever in Europe.
This is the first show.
First show. We're on the way to the first show from the airport. Like, we had a 12-hour flight, and then this. Like, 12-hour flight, 6-hour drive, fucked. And then we call in the morning, and they're like, oh, we can't fix your van because it's a French van, and we don't fix those. And we're like, well, what the fuck are we going to do? Like,
aren't you a garage?
Right. And so we ended up missing the first 4 shows. We missed the show in Poland, both shows in the Czech Republic, and the show in Germany we missed. And we had not anticipated on like having to rent a vehicle to finish the tour. We had not anticipated on hotels, really.
It's all these extra expenses just
and
piling
like
in.
Thousands of dollars. And I mean, for us, we're a 6-piece band. It costs like, just to get there and back in plane tickets, like close to $8,000.
Absolutely.
So,
and hotels for you guys is like,
and we weren't getting paid on the tour. So, and we had, bought onto the tour because we had never been to Europe before. And it was just like, so not only do we not have money, but we don't have money even more now. And it's like, so we were spending pretty much every day at McDonald's on the Wi-Fi trying to figure out our situation, and walking like on foot with all of our gear and luggage and shit around the big ass cathedral there, and staying in like hostels and stuff.
Jeez.
And for 4 days, and then we rented a car.
With 6 of you.
There was 7 with our agent.
It's a big car.
So it was it was not a big car. It was a Ford Galaxy.
Jeez.
And it technically seats 7. Well, so we were having to like load people and then put gear on top of them, and like
that's merch. The whole rest of your tour.
Yeah, we finished the tour over there like that.
Unbelievable.
So we didn't give up. We had our merch.
I was just gonna say, like,
we didn't have room for the merch boxes. So we had our merch in like trash bags, and like it was wild. But eventually, once we did a few tour dates, and they were like, okay, these guys aren't so bad, they started letting us keep like our guitars in their trailer.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But the first few days, they were just like, what are you guys doing?
Wow.
And we're just like, nothing good. And of course, the first day,
Suffo and Cattle are cool.
Yeah, they're great guys, but they just didn't know us yet.
Absolutely.
So in the first day, of course, we get to the Viper Room in Austria.
Those stairs.
Well, yeah, we loaded down like 6 flights of stairs in the dark.
It's always dark.
It's always dark as fuck.
And then into that like tunnel room.
So we get everything down there and everything. We sound check, and of course our drummer plugs in an adapter instead of a converter for his mixer to run the tracks.
And there goes all that.
And it fried his mixer. Mm-hmm. And so that was how we were going to run our backtracks for the new songs we were playing. And we don't normally use backtracks, but we were trying to have all the samples there. Like, this is a big tour in Europe. Like, it's got to sound really good. So we decided to try it out. So then we rigged up the system with like an iPod, and a headphone splitter, basically, to where all the monitors on stage would have the click. On stage, though.
Okay, yeah.
And then front of house would not have the click because he would pan it.
Yeah.
Well, the sound guy sound checked us like that, and it was good. Like, it worked. And we're like, sick. We'll just run it like this. Well, he removed the fucking pan right as we started our set. So the entire show, our click track was coming through the front of house loud as fuck.
That's embarrassing.
And no one told us. And we played the whole set like that. And just everybody's like, the place is packed. And they're just looking at us like, what is happening right now? And because we played fine.
Yeah.
Like, we played our shit right.
I've had some good shows.
You just hear this like, boop, 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 boop through everything. And we get off stage and dudes in suffocation are standing there and they're like, what was that? We're like, what do you mean? They're like, your clicks were coming through the front of house the whole show.
Well, you could have told us.
We're like, dude, anybody could have told us. And our agent runs up. He's like, you fucking idiots. And we're like, why didn't you tell us? Like,
seriously,
this is your job here. He's like, I was running merch. I'm like, we're not going to sell any merch with the click tracks coming through the front of house.
And honestly, and in your defense, the merch booth is right next to the fucking sound booth.
Yeah.
Because I've been there.
It's like 10 feet away.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was a disaster day one, and day two we're in Slovenia, and Justin's like, I'm going to hook up my backtracks. I'm like, no, you're not. We're just going to play without them, dude. Like, fuck these samples. Like,
especially if you're using a house guy, it's always hard.
And we have not used backtracks ever again since that show.
Once you have a sound guy that's your sound guy,
oh yeah, then it's probably
you can
great.
do whatever you want.
But yeah, so we play everything raw, like completely. Even Katie plays all of her keyboard parts manually.
Of course she does. She's awesome.
Yeah. Fortunate to have a very good keyboardist. I see a lot of bands with like cool keyboard setup and laptops and 2 keyboards and everything, and you actually watch them like side stage and they push like one button and the whole section plays. It's like, why are you here?
They look cool. She's cute.
Yeah.
But she's the one that's stuck by you the longest.
Yeah.
You probably could ask this a lot, the way Cryptopsy does. Lineup changes, and you definitely have a stick-to-it attitude. You don't give up.
We've gone through 50 band members since 2011.
Which is insane.
Yeah. So I'm the only original. Katie's been with us since 2013, so she's pretty close. She's been here since we've been a serious band, at least. And really, it comes down to, like, there's been very few band members that have left because of, like, personal, like, fuck you kind of reasons. Like, we're on good terms with a lot of our band members still that have been here. It's just the, like, grueling, constant tour schedule.
It's hard.
You know, people, we don't really make that much money. So, I mean, like,
it's hard. It's a sacrifice. That's why I asked you what you had to sacrifice, you know?
Yeah, I mean, basically don't have shit while you're home, and, you know.
It's hard to, like, have a family. It's hard to, how old are you?
I'm 27.
Okay, so you still have
I
years
had to
before you get that itch
think
going
about
on.
that one for a minute.
Yeah.
I was like, how the fuck old am I?
Yeah, me too. It happens to me all the time. All the touring you're doing, who is the biggest ego that you've crossed?
OTEP. Absolutely.
I did read that, and I was hoping you'd say that. So that if you want to talk about that, I'd like to.
Like, I'm not going to go into like a super lot of detail about it, because I'm not really trying to stir up any shit or anything. And like, her whole band was super cool to us, and like, you know, so we started like doing stuff like helping them load in every day. Like, we'd load our stuff in and then go load their stuff in too. Which is
if any younger bands are out there,
you want to make friends
and you want to make a good impression on the tour,
help.
You should load in, help the headliner load in. It's an excellent tactic.
Right. So we're always all about that, and we just want to make the whole show run smoothly no matter what. So, I mean, we'd help all the bands load in, you know, help set up merch, and like because her security dude that she had was also her merch guy. So like, when he wasn't there, we'd watch her merch table for her. Some nights when there wasn't like adequate security, we'd go up there and stand to make sure nothing happened, like right after our set and stuff like that. And like, we were always like, you know, doing a bunch of stuff to really try to help, you know. And
is it because is she actually in danger? Is it because she has like, social anxiety issues?
I think she's very political and says a lot of stuff a lot of people don't like. So from what we gathered on the tour, she gets a lot of like online death threats and like stuff like that. So I understand having a security person or whatever, man. But you know, we did our job. We showed up every night. We drew people to the tour. We promoted the shit out of it. We even made the flyer for the second tour.
Oh, because you toured with them twice.
Yeah, we toured with her twice. The first one went off just great. It was fantastic, and she liked us and was like, yeah, bring them back onto another tour. And so we're like, yeah, we'll definitely do it. The first one was great. Like, we'll do another one. And the second one was just a disaster, like, as far as, like, us getting along with her.
From what I read, correct me if I'm wrong, there was accusations of smoking dope.
We smoke a lot of weed. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
and then the second thing was selling merch during their set.
Yeah, and that was literally not true. We did not sell merch during her set.
I have never, ever been on a tour where a headliner won't let me sell merch during their set.
Me neither. Until that.
Ridiculous.
But it was like, okay, it's your tour, your rules, and we respected
Absolutely,
that.
yeah.
And our merch girl at the time, what had happened was normally every night they would come out without OTEP on stage, just the band, and they wouldn't be in their like costumes or whatever yet. And they come out and they would play instrumentally a cover of Rain and Blood. Mm-hmm. And then their guitarist would be like, oh, who's ready for OTEP, you know, or whatever. And that was like our cue, like shut the merch tables down or whatever.
Yeah.
And being the direct support, like we made sure all the bands shut their lights out and made sure everybody stopped selling. And like, these are the rules, like do it or pack your shit up, you know, basically trying to help out. And the night we played at the Token Lounge, they have a big curtain in front of the stage. So
they didn't do
the Slayer thing. So we had no warning that she was about to just start. Mm-hmm. So when that curtain opened,
and she sees the merch lights still on.
Well, it wasn't even the merch lights. What had happened, because the merch table was like right there from the stage, right on the side of the stage, basically. And while the curtain was still closed and everything, our merch girl sold a T-shirt to somebody who was leaving that didn't want to see OTEP, and took his credit card and ran his credit card, and he got charged. Well, before she could grab him his shirt, the curtains open and OTEP started playing. So she told him to hold on a second, and she ran around and shut off all the merch lights all the way down the whole row of merch, and told all the bands, like, shut your lights out, no merch until she's done. And then came back, and with her phone light while OTEP was playing, dug through and grabbed a shirt and handed him the shirt.
And that's what it was.
But he had already paid for the shirt.
It's just the timing of it.
And she saw that and was like, you guys sold fucking merch. I want you off my tour.
Wow.
And it was not really cut and dry like that. Like, you're off the tour for that. It was
a build up. There was probably like stuff that.
Well, it was the weed thing first, which was also a misunderstanding. But we just apologized and we're like, oh, we're sorry. You know, we're not trying to start any shit here. Whatever. But the second one with the merch thing, you know, I was just sick of it at that point, and they were like, oh, she wants to talk to you. And I'm like, okay, well, if it's anything like the last time, you know, I told the whole band, I'm like, if she talks to me anyway as she did last time.
About the weed thing. Because
in 70 shows with them, she only actually talked to me face to face twice.
Which were these two interactions.
Yeah. Basically, I'll talk to you if I'm pissed. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Otherwise, stay away from me. Like, we weren't even allowed in the venue if she was in the venue.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Wow.
If she was in there doing her meet and greet or sound check or anything, we had to sit outside. She had to sit outside in our bus, and when it was like -10 and shit.
Really?
For hours.
Weird.
Until we could load in because she was in there doing her thing. So it was bullshit.
That does sound like the biggest ego.
But we put up with it. The shows were good. Everything was cool for the most part, you know. But I just told my band, I'm like, listen, dude, I'm not going to hold my tongue if she starts talking shit again. I'm going to talk shit back, and we're probably going to get kicked off the tour. And they're all like, yeah, dude, fuck it. Just say whatever. And, you know, I'm not going to go in depth of that conversation, but there were some shitty things said both directions in that conversation, and we were off the tour.
Do you think that all the press helped the band?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you feel like more people are coming to shows since then, or?
Yeah, I mean,
or more people know the name.
More people know the name for sure. I mean, it was on like Loudwires, like This Week in Metal with the host and everything, and it was on Metal Injection and Metal Sucks and everything. And we didn't even expect it to be that big. We were just like, we need to make a statement of why we're not finishing these last 12 dates.
You owed that to your fans too.
Yeah, that was our thing. Is we're not even trying to like trash OTEP. We're not trying to talk shit. We're not trying to start a fight. We're just like, hey, we're not finishing these 12 dates.
Here's why.
We got kicked off the tour. This is why. And we knew that we had to put that statement out immediately. Because, I mean, we were already loaded into the Pittsburgh show. She kicked us off the tour, and we had to go up there while the local band was sound checking and rip our backline off the stage. And, like, I mean, there was even people there with our shirts on. And it was like, this is what we're doing, I guess. So
did she make them leave too?
No. But it was a shitty situation overall, and we had to make a statement about it, and we didn't expect it to like blow up like it did. And when I like got up, we posted it, and it was like a 5-hour drive home. By the time we got home, it was like
everywhere.
It was already on Rock Feed, I know that, and it was already on Metal Sucks, and our post of it had like close to 10,000 reactions already.
You knew you hit like a nerve. Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, dude. Like, I don't know how this is going to go. Cause I mean, like OTEP's been around for
mid 90s, I want to say.
Right. And I'm like, this is a big name, and we're not a big enough band to be like taking shots at a big name. We're going to lose this. You know what I mean? Like, people are going to hate us for this.
No, I think you guys handled it well, honestly.
And yeah, that was our thing, is we're going to make this one statement. This is why we're not on the tour, and we're going to shut up.
Which is a very smart thing to do.
And we're not going to do any interviews about this. We're not going to fight with her on social media. We're not going to make this a big thing. This is why we're not going to be on this tour, and we're done. And that's how we handled it. Well, a bunch of fans fucking blew up about it, and were like burning her merch on Facebook live streams and tagging her, and like,
I didn't see that. Yeah.
All kinds of shit. Yeah, they were like, we have a song called Watch Them Burn, and there was people posting on our page even playing Watch Them Burn while they were lighting OTEP merch on fire.
Wow.
And I was like, damn, this is crazy. And it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then I got tagged in the Loudwire thing where it was like, oh, this week in metal, OTEP kicks the Convalescence off tour. I'm like, holy shit. Like, they usually talk about like Metallica and shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is bigger than I thought it was. And then she started just running her mouth a lot on social media, and it was making it worse. And I was telling everybody, shut up, don't respond to it.
It's very smart. Yeah.
So we didn't take any interviews for I think like 3 months. We didn't do any interviews about anything. And we just got ready for the Venom tour, and that was it. Like, it was a rough situation because we really didn't know how it was going to go. We didn't expect it to blow up like it did. And then we had to just carefully handle it when it did. So, you know, for us, we're past that and whatever. And it is what it is. And I mean, we still talk to, and, you know, some of us still hang out with some of the members of OTEP, and their crews come out to our shows since then. And all that stuff is literally just her.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that was probably the worst ego I've dealt with. You know?
It sounds like it. Yeah. Let's talk about the booking agency, the Legend Agency.
Yeah,
that's your booking agency, or is it an agency you work for?
It's my agency. I'm partnered with Chris Bianchi over with like Legend Recordings and stuff. You know, he actually kind of started it, and then was like, I'm going to do the label and the management thing more. And you can just pretty much keep booking, you know. So I had a booking, you know, Wampler booking and management before that.
Did you? Okay.
You know, that's how I started working with Chris and everything. But yeah, I do. I mean, that's how I make a living. You know, you can't make a living just touring. Like,
it's hard
at a band our level. You know?
It's hard.
And
so you book bands. Who would be the biggest band that you book?
Probably us, to be honest. Like, but I work with like Dead Eyes Always Dreaming and My Own Will. I worked with Forces for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Discord Curse, A Feasting Beast, Orinoco. You know,
then you book in North America.
Yeah, and I actually I partnered with Liam Frith from Becomes Astral up here, and he does our Canadian booking now.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we kind of, if we need something in Canada, I can send bands to him, and if he needs something in the States, he can send bands to me.
Some of the connections.
Yeah, and then we also I partnered up with Bastion over in over in Europe, and he does Europe and Japan for us too. So any of the bands I work with, I can do worldwide.
Really?
Pretty much. You know, I can't do Australia or like South America or Mexico or anything yet, but
I have a hookup for Australia. We'll talk after.
Right on. But yeah, I mean, as far as Canada, the States, Europe, China, and Japan, we can book.
Awesome.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Congrats for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. I mean, I honestly can't stand booking. It's a pain in the ass. But it's stressful.
That was my next question is what are some of the biggest challenges?
Oh, it's just waiting on people, man. Or like the venues that'll get back to you with like the weirdest reasons why they either don't want a tour package or like you have to jump through like 20 hoops to book here. And it's like, why are you making it hard to put a successful show on at your club?
Why do you not want to make money?
Yeah. Do you want to fail? Like, you're fucking up right now. So that's a major thing that I run into. And the biggest one is waiting on people. Because I got the band in my ear like, why isn't our tour booked yet? Why isn't our tour booked yet? I'm like, dude, I have sent out literally 10 emails for every fucking city on your tour. I can't do anything until I get a confirmation. Or you'll have the promoters that'll talk to you, and then vanish for 2 weeks.
Just ghost you.
Yeah, and you're just like, dude, is this guy going to get back to me? And right as you're about to book something else, they're like, oh, yeah, we can totally confirm. Thanks.
What would be the best advice that you could give yourself at 15 years old if you can go back?
Just keep doing it. Just keep working at it. I mean, I've been busting my ass 24/7 pretty much since I was 14, 15, started jamming with my friends in basements and stuff, you know, just keep fucking doing it. Don't give up on it. Because it's really, to get to this point, you know, I wouldn't know as much as I knew if I hadn't have fucked up a bunch of shit and had to learn from it. So I'm happy with that for sure. I mean, where I've made it to from where I started. So, I mean, that's really it. Just don't give up. Keep pushing on it.
I'm really in awe of your dedication.
It's just, I mean,
I'm sure that just what you've told me there and what I know about you is just like the tip of the iceberg of all the shit that you had to go through.
Oh, it's ridiculous
to get where you guys are.
But I mean,
you know?
like, for me, all I ever wanted to do was just be able to just do music. Like, period. And I mean, even the booking and management thing, that's still music.
Absolutely. It's totally related.
Successfully, I make a living, not a great living, but I make a living
from playing music.
From just being involved in like death metal all the time.
It's amazing.
And it's cool with me. It's a lot of fucking work. It's a pain in the ass. And sometimes it's not exactly fun, you know? Sometimes you wake up in the bus and you're like either freezing or sweating to death and you're just like, dude, fuck this. Like, I'm ready to go home.
And then where's my suit?
Right. And then I, get up on stage later and, get the big pit going and everything and everybody's into it and they're all stoked that you're playing shit that you wrote and you're just like, all right, I don't want to go home anymore.
Yeah, this is
I'm good.
This is why I'm here.
Yeah, this is exactly why I do this.
Thank you, Keith. Stoked that you part of Vox and Hops. We're going to cheers, yeah. For sure. Do you want to add anything? When's this new album going to come out?
Sometime this summer, I think. It's coming out on Legend Recordings.
You have some stuff coming up you want to shoot?
We got a show with In Flames and All That Remains here in a couple days.
That's awesome.
Headlining Damage Fest at the Machine Shop in Flint. We're actually doing a beer festival.
What?
We're
only talking about that now.
Yeah, it's Brews and Brews Fest. It's
I'm jealous.
Around Detroit. It's us, Battlecross, and Goat Whore.
Oh.
And it's like a craft beer festival.
Oh. You say hi to the boys from Battlecross for me, please.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But yeah, and then we got a headline tour with Sia Treachery and Insurgents, hitting a bunch of festivals like Texas Independence Fest and Toledo Death Fest and all that kind of stuff. So should be a good spring at least.
Awesome, leading into a busy summer, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
You don't stop.
Basically booked for the year. If everything confirms, we're not going home this year.
Okay, well, congrats on everything.
Thanks,
I'm stoked. Thank you for being a part of Vox and Hops.
For sure, man.
And I'm looking forward to hanging again.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Cheers.
Hey, thank you so much for listening right to the end. I love talking with Keith. I love catching up with him. I was really lucky. I got to see him a few days after this interview when he came out to see us play at the Sanctuary in Detroit. This tour has been amazing. Get your tickets. The ticket links will be available in the description. I'm having so much fun on this tour. I'm doing a whole bunch of amazing interviews. I can't wait to share them all with you guys. I appreciate all your support. As always, if you have any suggestions, if you have any comments, if you have any ideas of what beers I should drink, where I should drink them on this upcoming tour, just shoot me an email at matt@vox&hops.com. That's matt@voxandhops.com, and I'll be more than willing to check out what you guys are suggesting. I appreciate you all. Thank you all for your fine comments. The support that Vox and Hops is getting, it would not happen without all of you. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope that you spend some time with your family. I'm really missing mine out on this tour. So you hug all your children and all your loved ones extra hard for me, please. Hang out with your friends, and most importantly, drink great craft beer. Cheers, Vox and Hops heads.